All right, welcome to our monthly copywriting clinic where you get to learn tips about copywriting and get real-time feedback on your projects. Yeah, we're starting out with a nice little intimate group so far today, but I have a feeling that we're probably going to get a handful more coming in at the halfway point with time changes and stuff. So those of us that are here in the room are pretty familiar with how it goes. So maybe when if more people pile in, then we'll kind of go through some protocol stuff. So
yeah, we don't need
can just start casual. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, what do we got?
For a quick update, because you're the only one who doesn't know these things, Miss Kara. So I'll update you really quick because I met with these guys on Tuesday. So I decided, because the Anarchapulco talk was really popular, so I decided to like do a little more in that direction. So now there is a website. I traded with Road for a website, and yesterday I put some of my own pictures there. I don't know, I don't have very many pictures, so it's kind of like limited, but there is some. And I put some writing in there, but I'm not saying it's good writing. I have a real blank spot when it comes to my own writing for myself. Like the other day I put out something and then I read it 2 days later and I was like, whoa, I would have been critical of that if that came past my desk. You know what I mean? As a editor, as a whatever, senior teacher, whatever. And it was terrible, but like I get so emotional that I get blindfolded or blinded by my own stuff. So I really need help with my own stuff. That said, all the photos on that front page are ones that are from my classes and stuff.
I did enable screen sharing. So if you want to share your screen and we can look at stuff together. Or if you'd rather I share mine.
Or you can share yours.
Okay, am I sharing which link?
Oh, and the second thing is Michael's a very a complimentary piece. That I don't know what it is. It's probably a testimonial, but kind of I don't know where to put it. So you can read it. And he said he wants us to advise him where that belongs.
Well, because Agnieszka put together like her master offer sheet, which is like 14 pages long of skills and abilities that she has. And I read through the whole thing and I was like, there's something missing here. Like this doesn't.
Oh, that's what it was.
So to me, this is like Agnieszka's ultimate value proposition. And I do feel like it is one of the things that I think, like, if she's going to identify like her, like her perfect client, it's going to be a vetting process that goes both ways. That like that person needs to kind of know like what her background is and how that applies to their particular situation. And more than likely, it's going to involve like them getting real about their situation, and like me trying to communicate that's what I tried to put in here. I'm not sure that I did it.
None of this, like, this is way too sugary. I would never write that about myself anywhere where I was involved. You know what I mean? Like, I would just never write any of these sentences about myself. Like, I would say I'm talented, but I wouldn't say I'm super talented. And yeah, all of that whole thing just makes me feel uncomfortable, frankly.
Well, that's why you're not writing it.
And JL, you can help me out if you want, because I don't know that I'm conveying it properly.
Well, Michael, I think this is excellent, and this is an overview. I'm still not 100% sure where this would fit in either, and so maybe we can get everybody's ideas. The only thing, and this is something, I mean, I would say no bullshit, but for a wider audience, I would just say no nonsense. This way we're not kind of, stepping on anybody's toes. But then again, right, that's not going to be her client anyway.
Yeah, that's it. There's that part where I say that,
yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I think personally, I think that this element is something that happens during the interview or during the personal meet and greet, and doesn't have to be like laid out step by step in the skills inventory, especially since the skills inventory, it's not something that I use for business or for sales at all. Not that this would be appropriate for business or sales either. But I don't know.
I do like where Michael says towards the end, what we will need is true information, uncomfortable, and the ability, the willingness to confront the fears and learn from failures, and the courage to take relentless action and achieve your goal. Or you can
Yeah,
work
but
with Agnieszka.
so, but the skills inventory, like one of the skills is like herbalism. So in order to get a face cream, you need to have courage to take relentless action. Doesn't that seem like overkill? Or in order for me to write you an email, you need to be willing to confront your fears. It seems
Right.
like a
So,
total overkill for those skills.
right. So maybe this is only something when you're taking on one-on-one clients for more of the, exactly like you're saying, like the face reading and the sovereign body language, and you're more, for lack of a better word, other skills.
See, but the thing is, I'm a very polarizing kind of personality. People either love me or hate me, right? So if somebody meets me for a 15-minute meeting and they hate me, they don't need to know this. And people that like me, like, I don't know. Anyway,
Do you remember the Tony Robbins kind of funnel example that was used in autonomy? One of the slides in the lecture, and there was like, like his client, like his main offers are like the tapes and the cassettes, and then you get down to like, the 100,000 offer for Tony Robbins to like meet him and spend a day with him or whatever.
So you're
That's
saying that if somebody read this paragraph, they would give me $100,000?
well, I think that's those are people that have been vetted. They've worked with you to some degree, but there's that next level, and but I do feel like that's something that it is like the most valuable thing about you, is that you're willing to do that, where most people are not willing to to step into that arena. You just step
I
in.
think you're right, but I don't think people want to know that when they're coming into talking. Like if Rawad
Yeah, but
knew this about me, he would have never agreed to trade the website for coaching. Now that he knows, he's like, oh wow, it's like this. Okay, yeah, no, I'll do it. Like he's gonna be happy with it in the end, but it's not what he thought I was gonna be, this gentle whatever, I think, right? And then I was very hard and I was giving a lot of homework and there was a lot of like, very strict, and he was like, whoa.
Right. So,
and I would say stuff like, well, you already know this. You've taken this class. Go back to check this class. Here's the link. Look at it again, because you already know have this knowledge, right? So this is what you're talking about. But I think that people, I don't know.
Right. But isn't there like a level of trust though that gets like when you basically like promise something and then it's delivered and you're like, that's what that is, and that's why that's golden,
I don't know if
like
kind of.
But to me, that like if you prep people right, it's like like when people come down to Acapulco and they get annoyed by the people asking them for stuff all the time, and when I tell them, hey, these are entrepreneurs, like soak up that entrepreneurialism that everybody has, in Acapulco, and when you view it from
Victor overcharging people for taxis.
No, I'm talking about the people on the beach. Remember we went through this thing, Agnieszka, when you made that deal with the guy that was selling shells, and you took a different perspective, and it was like, oh, this is fun. It's that same thing. You're like prepping people for like, this proof, this moment that it's like, oh, that's what's valuable, and that's why it's valuable. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of it, but I think it's there. I don't know. Does anybody else want to chime in?
And so clarify for me, where is this intended? Where is this intended to go or go
to warn people not to work with me?
I mean, I like as far as, you know, thinking like, okay, if you're a person who wants to grow really fast and isn't afraid to get the hard feedback that is going to help you grow exponentially, like Agnieszka is your person. This is who you should be working with. So
That's a
there's
really
different
good
ways.
sentence.
Yeah, there's different ways of saying it.
Amen.
That's not so, I don't know, that can be a little bit less intimidating while still getting the point across.
Yeah, it's really sweet and then it's really harsh. It's kind of
Mhm.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, you know, a lot of this is, of course, it's, you know, focused a lot on Agnieszka, but it's kind of like what we talk about a lot is like, okay, who are we talking to? So thinking about what kind of person is the kind of person that should be working with Agnieszka. And it's someone that can handle some hard feedback, but knowing that it's ultimately it's coming through with love. It's just about, you know, it's to help you grow fast. And if you want to grow fast, this is the way to do it.
You know, and when you're in business situations, grow fast means, you know, scale up, right?
Okay.
You guys are giving me some really good sentences for my bio right now.
Good.
But I'm allowing the recording to capture them.
Yes. So are we wanting to look at the sovereign body language page?
Yeah, let's look at that.
What your body is saying.
Look, that's me on the big stage. There were like 7 cameras pointed at me at the time because those Anarchapulco people, they put a lot of money in audiovisual, apparently $100,000.
Wow.
Which is more like 300,000 because we're in Mexico, right? Oh yeah, I don't know where that goes.
Placeholder for now.
I just edited 1 page. What do you guys think of the somatic intelligence activator?
I like it. Like at a glance, it's like it invokes curiosity and also just like, what exactly is that? I want to know more.
So far, I have an idea for the book. Okay, so just to give you guys background, like the people that weren't with us on Tuesday, at the last Anarchapulco, this was a very popular talk, and I did my workshop a few times, and then people were following me around. So then I decided that people need this information. So now I'm putting this website together. And then I'm supposed to put a book, but I wasn't sure what kind of a book to put out. So then I decided to interview a bunch of people that have taken classes from me or my teacher. And some of them have only taken like 3 hours, and some of them have taken like all the way to the teacher's training. I'm going to interview each person for half an hour and ask them about the impact that psychosomatic therapy did on them. And like how understanding the body language and the structure and the habitual thought patterns that create your face and how you look on the outside is created by your thought. That whole concept, how that affects you once you learn about it. And so to date, I've had more than 20 people agree to do the interviews with me, and they're scheduled all for next week.
Nice. Exciting.
Oh, and some really cool people, like some really interesting people who travel internationally and do all these interesting things. And yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Unique combination of skills and alternative education, some brought along through generations of ancestors. Agnieszka can see deeper when she looks at your face and body. See right through you to the subconscious level just by looking at your face and body.
Oh, there's a repetition.
That's what I was just going to point out. Yep. Your habitual patterns are written all over yourself. When you find yourself experiencing stuckness in your life, these habitual patterns may be at fault. They may even be affecting your ability to create your own happiness. Agnieszka can empower you with an understanding of how to dramatically shift your current barriers and make way for what you desire. Are you dedicated to creating a world where you delight in living?
So I like that the second to last, so Agnieszka can empower you with the understanding. I would bump that up because again, we want to tell them what you can do for them.
Fine,
I
I'll
like that
share
you're
my
looking,
screen.
I like that you're looking in the camera with the picture. Are you planning on using your Zoom? Such a lovely shot of you. I'd love to see that on there. You know, your Zoom picture.
I don't know what my Zoom picture is.
I think you're wearing blue and you're also looking into the camera.
Turn your video off for a second. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
that.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. I can try to find that picture. I don't know. That was like a beach picture.
Well, it's a nice picture of your face.
Thank you. I'm going to go into the editor and make the edits just as you guys talk about it. So give me 2 seconds and I'll share my screen, even though I didn't want to earlier, but you know.
Excellent.
Edit with Elementor. Can you guys hear the fan more now? No?
No, Zoom does a pretty good job of blocking out the background noise.
But it's also pointed like away from the computer, but
Mhm.
brought it closer because I'm getting mosquitoes. Okay, share screen. Da 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 da. Do you like the screenshot I chose from the video for this me laughing at the antics the guy's doing on the stage?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was examining their body language. It shows me as fun, right? Like that my talks are entertaining.
Yes.
Yes.
At least I'm having fun anyway. Anyway, what about this stuff, you guys? Oh, hang on. You had some good jail. So you think that I should take this sentence and this sentence and put it at the top, yeah?
Yeah. And then that last sentence is excellent because it leaves you with the question.
Okay, put it here, press enter. And then I think that I should just end this one with the word deeper and press that. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So you like this paragraph?
There's some redundancies in it. The word habitual is habitual.
I really like the word habitual. The word
No, I
habitual
like
is
the word habitual
crux.
too. Yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
crux of everything. Because the thing is, if you think a thought once, it's not going to show up on your face. If you think it twice, it won't show up. But if you think it twice a day for 10 years, you're going to have a big groove on your face. And that's where the habitual comes in.
Excellent.
Anyway, which habitual do you want me to take out? What about the rest of the people here? The wonderful Taras, the handsome Jerry?
I would say that if you wanted to take out one of the habituals, the second one. Because you got your habitual patterns written all over yourself. And then when you find yourself experiencing stuckness in your life, these patterns can be at fault. So you just take out that.
Oh, look, I edited it there and it worked.
Good.
Okay.
I was thinking, you know, in the value proposition thing that I've been using, needs are the first thing that you would identify. Do you feel like you're identifying what people are looking for or what they need?
I mean, if somebody's looking for sovereign body language, it's probably they have problems communicating on some level, right? And the first sentence of this bio says, I will help you shift your current barriers.
So is that clear enough for people to understand, you think?
I'm not sure if the you desire part is actually on point here after now that you say that. Because I kind of like the sentence ending with the word desire. But now that Mike's pointing that out, I'm thinking maybe there could be a stronger way of showing them where they are. What about just say communication barriers? Because communication is the crux here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe some bullet points of like what people, you know, like how people suffer with this.
And we can-
overcome communication barriers, bullet, improve your, I don't know, how would we say, like, how the message lands on someone. My brain is shot today. Sorry, it's so hot in here. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this, and I'm like on the 4th floor of a building, of a concrete building, and it's 90 degrees out here in Jersey today, and so it's so freaking hot. I actually have a fan on me, so I'm not used to that. So please
Mexico.
forgive my melting brain.
You know, if it's
Welcome.
really, really hot, one thing you can do is buy a thing of ice from the thing and just stick it in a bowl next to you.
Yeah, and put it over the fan, let the fan blow it onto me, right? Old school air conditioning. Thank you.
I actually, because I have cement floors, I actually make a big ice cube, and every night I put it next to the bed for it to melt into the floor,
Awesome.
like this big.
Wow.
I didn't hear
takes-
that. I'm gonna have to catch the replay to hear that. But I have this thought that I need to get out because it'll help me focus on this first, what do you call it? The first 3 lines. So I was just thinking maybe the second 3 lines. It says Agnieszka can look at you deeper. I don't know if that would make any sense.
Like this. So you want me to take this stuff out?
No. Like instead of, for some reason, I was thinking maybe to add, instead of Agnieszka can see you deeper, Agnieszka can look at you deeper.
Interesting. I like
Yeah.
it.
I'd almost say, yeah, that could work. I was almost thinking Agnieszka sees deeper.
Yeah, but
Or
then the word
can see past
using-
your blocks, can see past your blocks, right? Because that's actually what you do. You identify their blocks, right? They don't know what they are, and that's why they're coming to you. And so not only are you saying, here, this is the block, but salute, but also this is how you can get past it.
Something you said earlier, JL. What do you think about that thing about connecting with other people? What do you think about like establishing like a deep rapport? You know, we had that sales masterclass a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that he talked about was there's rapport and then there's deep rapport, and getting to that deep rapport is where you really connect with other people.
See, I don't know. Do you think it would be good to add another sentence right there about what I will do for them?
You know what I keep thinking? I honestly keep thinking that very last question sentence needs to go at the very top
Yeah,
and finding a different closing.
yeah. Right. It's that question that leads them in, right? So first there's
Yeah.
that question, and you're like, oh, well, and then you say what you can do.
Yeah, I like that.
So now I almost want to say, see, I don't know. See what I mean? Like I'm normally so opinionated, and when it comes to my own writing, I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, I hear you. I know.
I just don't know. I need more coffee. Oh, I'm out of coffee.
But I like that so much more than starting the whole thing with your name again. It's like it puts it back on the reader. Are you dedicated to creating a world where you delight in living? And then boom, Agnieszka can empower you to do these things. So then we just need to find a closing.
I think we can take a stab at this again later. I think this is pretty okay for now, unless somebody has a brilliant idea to add to it.
My brilliance is feeling a little low in supply today.
I'm just gonna
Put them
think
in.
out loud.
Do it.
That
Second, I don't even know how to speak English anyways. Agnieszka can empower you with, oh man, I had it. maybe instead of with, maybe to understand how to dramatically shift the current communication barriers. I don't know, I lost it.
No, I made that change.
So you need to take of out if you go with this change. Understand how to.
So this may then lead into the concept of the bullets without necessarily the bullets. So the things that you can do. So you help them understand how to dramatically shift their current communications, break through the unstuckness. I mean, this is not the words actually, but the concept is to list them what you can do for them, right? So you're asking them a question, you're drawing them in, and you're saying, I can do this for you.
What else can I do? How cheesy is that?
Just cheesy enough.
Maybe we can make this into bullets.
Because again, the concept is most people are going to scan. They're not going to read every single word. It's just kind of like they get an idea. And if they see something that like says what they can do for them, they'll be more apt, especially if they're short and pithy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Make way for what you desire. Everybody wants that.
that's why I'm gonna be a millionaire, and you guys are all gonna work for me in the future.
Cool. Have your people call my people.
Maybe this should go up. Oops.
Yeah.
But the top half is all about you, and it mentions me at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then you can bring in how your education and what you have studied for all of these years and your deep understanding.
Yeah, but I
The
think that'll be in
background.
the second page, the about Agnieszka, like that's answered right here, right?
Okay.
Right now that doesn't go anywhere, but it will.
Will that be your bio?
Yeah, there will be my bio then.
Cool.
No, maybe, if you guys don't have anything better to do, maybe we can talk about my bio next thing. I wanted to ask you next month. I wanted to ask you about something up here because this whole thing about sovereign body language. Oh, I see. It depends.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, can't do much about it because it's covered up by this on some screen, what I was finding. Anyway,
And
this thing above and this thing below.
It's almost thinking like, I don't know if it's too wordy, but like find out what your body is unconsciously saying. Because that's the idea, is like the stuff that your body's saying that you don't realize that it's communicating unconsciously.
Maybe you're broadcasting. Is that a better word?
I like this better. I think it's clearer than broadcasting. It's, yeah, I'm consciously telling everyone.
And own your communication, you like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, I do.
And
And
what
there
about
could be
this?
an option in the future to put a little video up here watching you in action, a short like what it is, so that people understand exactly what this is, right?
Yeah, next time I'm gonna get Edu or somebody to actually film me like with purpose, because right, what happened is I set up like at the other Mariposa Festival, it's just like my own phone on a tripod trying to film me, right? It's not very professional. This is the same. This is like, this photo is from my phone filming my talk, just like cut a little theme. But I mean, I didn't buy the, like, I guess if I pay an Acapulco a bunch of money, they're gonna sell me my own talk. But I haven't. I might be able to find one of my friends who has access to it, who bought like a full package.
Agnieszka, for some reason, the change I requested you to make doesn't sit well with me. So I think how it was is better.
The understand to understanding.
Yeah.
Agnieszka can empower you with the understanding of how to.
Yeah,
With understanding, yeah.
with understanding. I
With
guess.
understanding of how to. Yeah.
To understand seems very concise to me.
Yeah, that was my first train of thought, and then when I explained it, it just like I kind of
And what if, you know what? What if we just do this?
Yeah.
Less is more.
I was just thinking.
It could, you know, it could even be like empower yourself to dramatically shift your current communication areas. Like if you want to put it back in their hands.
Yes, I like that. Putting the responsibility and the onus on them, because you're literally their guide. You're showing them. And then once they have that information, then they understand what they can do about it. But first you have to be aware. I'm not going to bust into Donald Rumsfeld, no known and unknown unknowns, known unknowns or anything.
And you know what? I want to move this sentence up too.
About become empowered to.
No, because that's in, there's no action in become.
Okay.
Because we're asking them, so that's a psychological thing. We're asking them to take an action. And when you start with the be words, becoming, be, leaving, like all that is all in this enigmatic realm. Oh, look, my copywriter came back on for a second. What do you guys think of moving this sentence up a little higher?
I mean, maybe if, put that as the second sentence, and then the third sentence, Agnieszka can empower you to.
You know,
Yeah,
it
but
could be,
actually,
so it could be after the bullet points that your habitual patterns are written all over yourself. Agnieszka can see right through.
Yeah, just that swap.
In between, it felt a little out of place, but if you open this part with that, and then it leads into you. Copywriting's fun. A lot of times it's just like, yeah, rearranging a bunch of stuff.
That's actually how I write. I just get it out. I just go, don't think, and just get it out. And then I go back and I'm like, oh God. And then literally like hours are spent just shifting words and putting paragraphs in different spots. But it's for the most part, and then tenses. So Thank you for reminding me about the tenses.
Yeah, and
You know,
just for Dave for a second, anytime you're writing copywriting, you want to be very direct, and you want to be like in this part of the body when you're talking to them. You want to stay below the head, because this is where all the decisions are made. You want to engage them on an emotional level, but you don't want to bring them into the wondering, the thinking. Like I used to write a lot of like that kind of language, and it does not translate into sound.
Agnieszka, when you were doing that presentation, one of the things that you said that I really liked was you said, like, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but you said your facial stuff speaks about you, and or is it the other way around? And your body
Well,
talks about you or
no, what
the
I
other
said.
person's?
So what I said is, when I used to, I listened to that part when I was looking for screenshots yesterday. Last 2 years, I was teaching face reading, but face reading doesn't do much good to you because it's all about the other person. Yes, it's a service you can
Okay.
do for others, and you can understand others better. But when it comes to body language, it's taking that face reading and putting it back on yourselves. Read yourself, don't read others. People want to
Yeah.
read others because they want to avoid bad relationships, or they want to avoid being cheated or something. So they want to learn face reading to read others. But what's more important for sales, for business, for empowerment, for autonomy, is to take that focus and bring it back on yourself and examine how you land with other people, because that's what's stopping you from progressing in whatever you're choosing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some golden info.
Thank you. Any other things about this?
I'd probably sleep on it. Maybe, look at it again tomorrow.
Yeah, so this is okay. This is okay. These are actual pictures from actual recent events that I actually was at or teaching at. So I was impressed that I had like 3 photos. This is me teaching at Mariposa on the right. The middle is me at the Greater Reset, and the leftmost is at Anarcapulco. It was one of the parties. Actually, it's not even this year's Anarcapulco, it's last. Whatever.
Is it possible you could put some words that kind of describe what you're doing there? Because to me, it's hard to determine what those mean. And maybe if you put some words with it, it would make it more impactful.
I'm not sure
Are
if they mean anything. I just was trying to fill the placeholders with relevant information.
No,
yeah,
but
I
this
can
this
ask you.
actually could be a good marketing opportunity, Agnieszka. So if these are reoccurring events, then these, even if they're past events, you can either do that and then say, oh, plan for the upcoming, and then pitch to them on that page. So if I were to click through on this bonfire on the beach, wherever that was taken, if it's a reoccurring event, you let them know that it happened, when it happened, and that it is going to happen again, and that they can be involved. So that's another way to kind of sell the idea of, especially if you're going to be giving seminars and talks.
Yeah, so like Acapulco, Mexico might just be and Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So like they know at least like you're in their neck of the woods, or they're going to that particular event.
Yeah,
They can find you.
there's 3 different cities in 3 different places. Yeah. Okay, and then we have, what do you guys think of this, what they say? I think that could be said better.
Yeah, like I always end up gravitating towards like what people are saying. That's a little bit more of a passive voice, but
What people are saying.
mhm.
I like what others are saying.
Others.
Yeah, personal.
See, what I wonder is, others is not me, so how am I going to relate to it?
No, I'm not crazy about the word others. It makes me feel like you're othering, like psychologically when you other somebody.
I don't know, I could just put testimonials.
You sure could.
Yes.
That's straightforward.
I have more, but so far I only put 3 there. There was spacers for 3. This also featured ads, and it's just the 3 events that I did.
Nice.
Do you plan on linking them to their sites and doing an affiliate with them?
Good one.
You ask such weird questions.
You could also do that with autonomy too.
You know I'm a weirdo. I can't help
Autonomy.
myself.
I should put autonomy on there too.
Yes. Totally should.
Ooh. Where can I steal autonomy logo? No, I should have autonomy logo.
Before I lose this thought, do you have any call to action buttons?
No, dude, I don't have call to action buttons. I would have to be like a
Yeah.
copywriter or a marketer or somebody.
We gotta put them on there.
No, I really have a huge, oh, but look at this picture. This is me doing a workshop at Acapulco. And they're all looking and listening to me like I was like, you know, somebody important. But this paragraph here on the left, I have no idea what that is. I just kind of stuck that in there. Yeah, we were looking for an autonomy.
Yeah, distilled wisdom caught, captured in a book and potentially a workbook to help you gain deeper understanding. And I'll defer this question to the professionals, Kara and Agnieszka. If you're speaking in, this goes back to tenses, right? So if you're saying understanding or understood, right? So is it always keep it in the same tense that you started with? Because I tend to jump all over the place with that.
I don't know, because the rules of English grammar are not followed in marketing. Because marketing is supposed to reflect your thought process, not English grammar. So if you follow all the rules of the English grammar in marketing, you're going to alienate your customers.
Interesting.
How do you like that?
Very, very interesting.
Yeah,
Because
I don't know
people
if there's
don't
like
think.
a hard rule on that. Go ahead, I cut you off.
I don't have a good, Kara, send
You're
me a
looking
good
for the-
autonomy logo. All the
I think
autonomy logo.
I think I have the badge handy. I actually got it for somebody else not that long ago.
I have it somewhere in my Dropbox, but God knows where.
Oh, boom. I found it. Sending it to you over Discord.
Thank you, my dear.
Do you guys utilize back in Autonomy Unlimited? Do you have like a production server that you guys have access to, or are you just using like a Google Drive for that?
As far as like where these logo files and things like that are kept?
Yeah, and any kind of like words or links or basically any of the collateral.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff in Drive, and then since Leah has been coming in and helping out with like operations, and she's been really helping us out. She's creating like a full index in like a Kajabi space, trying to get it out of Drive so that we can have some of the stuff located outside of the Google Drive. Yeah.
I figured AI can't speak pig Latin yet.
Nice.
Excellent.
So what were you saying about a book, JL?
Oh, and you got to the book aspect. If they're asking for the distilled wisdom, because that's pretty much what it is, right? You're literally interviewing these people. You're taking that wisdom from what they're sharing with you, what worked for them, and how they truly understood themselves, and then also offering to leverage that as a workbook for the people who are going to sign up with you. I'm not sure that translates.
I like it.
Yeah, but I don't know if anybody would know that means book. I know it means book, but I'm just saying, like, I'm also trying to like keep it simple so that people understand what we're saying. But I do like distilled wisdom because that's what it is. It's exactly what you did. I love it. 2 books. Excellent. Be right back, guys.
And after this, let's open it up to somebody else in the room. I know Taras has a landing page that he's been working on that we could take a look at too.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing. But I'm not saying I'm not gonna be back with more questions because I'm obviously blind when it comes to my own stuff.
Taras, do you have a preference? Would you like to share your screen or you want me to share?
I think you can go ahead and share.
Yeah, I said that to her at first too, and then I had to take over.
All right. Hey, and I know the other day I gave you like a Loom video, some feedback. Has anything been changed since then?
Yeah, I implemented a little bit of it. I did kind of want to change this logo maybe to be more of like a black faded kind of thing, and that might help it, the text stand out better, or maybe it's just I need a different text color.
I think you need a different background.
Yeah. Something about the KT and how large it is, it does feel a little in your face.
Okay. Yeah, originally I had kind of a picture of some people hanging out, and then my buddy Jeremy, he's like, I don't know, I guess he's more of a SEO type of guy, but he was saying like just blow up the logo, but then I'm sitting here and it's like, well, it's not really legible.
And it doesn't give a good impression. It looks half done.
Okay.
But the thing is, okay, but who's your target market? Is it men or women?
I was just gonna say, before we get too far into this, let's get some background for people in the room.
I think the target market is going to be kind of tech managers who are going to be disproportionately like middle-age-ish men.
Okay. And I know in like my Loom video to you, I had certain questions, and I think one of the biggest ones is like as far as the language that you're using, is your target audience, or is it language that's going to speak to them?
Yeah, that's the intent. It is kind of coming in strong with a lot of jargon, right? Timely and low defect project turnover. Okay, what kind of
I have a question about the word achieve.
Yes.
Are any of your customers thinking to themselves in their own head, I need to achieve? Are they using that word when they wake up in the middle of the night?
That's a good question. Do they use
I
the word
I don't think it's a realistic word. I don't think it's a word that people use in their own head.
Yeah,
I mean, it could even be, you know, if we're like riffing off of what you have here, it could even be like, finally, timely and low defect project turnover for 100% of your software specs.
Nice. Yeah.
And then this KT, it's very sort of contrasting. It kind of makes me feel uncomfortable because there is the blue and the yellow and the white. And it's very huge in my face, right? Like I have a big monitor, so it's like the K is the size of my whole head.
But like, I would love, as far as like a hero image, seeing so that the people visiting here kind of see themselves on the page. So maybe it's a guy at a computer, maybe it's, you know, or a team at a computer, something like that. And then you have the logo much smaller, either centered at the top or up to the left. So it, you know, can still be there, but it's not so big and in your face.
The logo is supposed to manipulate psychologically your customers. Like that's the actual reason for a logo, and symbols actually play on your subconscious and your psyche really greatly. But just like spices make food really good, these symbols need to control you from like a tiny little logo. That's why most companies have a tiny logo, right? if you put like all the pepper from the pepper grinder inside your meal, it's not going to be good. And here you have all the pepper from the pepper grinder inside this meal.
Great analogy.
I love that. Okay,
Thank you.
so that's our hero space.
And also your green doesn't match your yellow. It clashes with your yellow. And your yellow, Taras, I think the yellow is wrong. I think you need a more human-friendly yellow. Have you looked at the yellow that AUTONOMY uses, the gold?
So
It's
I'm pretty
number-
colorblind.
Okay, let me just give you a number here. Give me 1 sec. I just
Sure.
had it I just had it up because it's about my color. And for my businesses, I've actually stolen some AUTONOMY colors because I like them so much for some of my projects. And so what I really, really like about the AUTONOMY colors is the blue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5F and the gold D7B369.
Okay, can I get that again?
The blue is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5F, like Frank.
Yep.
And the gold is D like dog, 7, B like Bob, 369.
For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5F, D7B369. So those are the blue
Yeah.
and yellow.
And I think if you switched your colors, your blue to the AUTONOMY blue and your gold to the AUTONOMY gold, that logo is going to look classy AF.
Cool.
And make it smaller because, you know, kind of scary.
Okay.
It's like the Loch Ness Monster.
All right, moving on from the hero section. I think we've covered that.
Don't let Agnieszka get out of hand.
Outcomes are measurable, tangible, and replicatable. Timely project delivery, increased time spent on new project, decreased time spent on rework. So what I'd love to see, because you know, this is so for everybody else in the room. Some of the feedback I gave to Ross in a Loom video recently was that he had a lot of the components already, and we were just doing a lot of rearranging. So, you know, he rearranged some sections. And so now we're starting to get things a little bit more in the right place. And then it's more of like how to present it well. So rather than these sitting like right on top of each other, I would want to see them in like a couple rows as, you know, maybe with some icons with them. But
they should be, because there's too big a size difference between the heading and the bullets.
Well, honestly,
And
I would take this almost either take it
down.
out or down.
Yeah.
That's what I
Or
would do.
say, make the outcome SMART, and then actually say, like, you know, what the SMART actually stands for.
You know,
But
because
isn't that a
envision,
cliche?
well, envision, you know, Taras, if you had each of these as kind of like their own little bullet, or and then they each maybe have a little icon, and so you have what say, you know, 6 or
Or like
7
a
of these
little
here.
box, like a little
You know,
button.
Right. And then you had, if you wanted to keep this sentence, it would go beneath all of those in much smaller text. And, you know, so underneath all of these things, then in smaller text, maybe like italicized or something, outcomes are measurable, tangible, and replicatable.
And by the way, this sentence, outcomes, is exactly what I was talking about earlier, about not bringing the person inside their own head. So I know that you're talking about measurable, tangible, and replicable. But the thing is, you're not actually engaging the customer on the emotional level there. And it's not your outcomes, it's not my outcomes, it's somebody else's outcome. I can't relate to that. Those outcomes are not mine, right? And so you're talking about this other person's outcomes. It's a little confusing on an emotional level, right? So you need to bring it back to me, like, together we can achieve outcomes that are measurable, tangible, and replicable. That makes sense, because then you're going to help me with something I'm already struggling with, right? Because I'm probably having some issues with measurable, tangible, and replicable outcomes in my job. That's probably the thing that keeps me up at night. But I don't think about it in those words.
I'm also
Right.
wondering about results instead of outcomes.
Yeah.
Like results.
Your results.
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah.
Mhm. Even if you had like, so all six of these, like I said, so you had 3 and 3, and then equal increased revenue underneath, and then, your sentence. And there's definitely things, of course, that we could do to like just make these more powerful in general, but just as they are, they're pretty clear.
The other thing I have to say is about your background color. Now your colors are blue and gold, and this gray is not related to either. And it's also kind of boring. What if you took that gold color that I gave you earlier and watered it down with a bunch of white and had this barely creamy color, but make sure it's the same tone, just watered down a lot instead of the gray. I know it's for men, but I still think a touch of gold would go a long way, making this page a little bit more relatable.
And there's
Nice.
some cool tools out there that you can put in like your color code, and it can help create, lesser shades that will match, for to help with color blindness. There's really good tools out there.
Nice.
I may have missed this part, and I'm sorry for asking, but this is for men? Question
Yeah.
mark?
So, well, it would skew more males. So we're targeting. I guess we're going to send LinkedIn messages to CTO type of people. So, really, it's the target market, I guess, is software managers.
Tech guys. This I liked. How a poor software development process almost ruined an organization. That was originally, that was a lot further down on the page, and I said, bring that back up.
Yeah, and that could be a good spot for the CTA as well. I guess it'd
I
be
like
second.
it, but I'd like to see it in a box, like story time kind of box, or italicized. Like, I'd like to see it separated from the page, because I wouldn't like the word poor associated with Taras's business. I'd like to separate the word poor from the background of his page and put it in like a box separate, like, and put story time or whatever at the top. So that way it's engaging, but I don't associate when I'm scanning, I don't associate the word poor with your business.
And if you are, so this is a question. If your clients, they don't want to think that you'll be talking about them. So you're saying, I would imagine this "my" would be you, Taras. So my previous employer in Wisconsin did only manual testing. I don't know if I would put that in the first person coming from you. I would put it more like it happened.
There
Or at
was
least
one
take
man
out
in Wisconsin.
take out the in Wisconsin, so that there's not I think that you could take out.
Or you could say in one of the central states or something like that. Like if you want to use the marker for location, like that it's in the states, you don't have to say, and then also say, I knew a man, or there was once a man. Like make it, like I said, put at the top story time, and then make it like a little story, right? Or
Yeah,
I
that
knew
makes
a
sense.
man. I once knew a man in Wisconsin, or I once knew a man in one of the central states. I kind of like Wisconsin personally because it anchors
Okay.
them in a specific location. I know you're talking about slander, but if he says, I once knew a man, it's not going to be specifically that guy, right?
I feel like, if it's just somebody else, that makes it less engaging,
Well, but if it's this, then you're going to do that to me, and you're going to slander me on
Exactly.
your page in the future, and I don't
And
want
nobody
that.
wants that. No.
True.
I once knew a company in Wisconsin.
Yeah, a company.
Or, or I've seen, or, in other words, like you don't have to make it about you that you're involved and then you're going and airing dirty laundry. But yeah, no, it's definitely to because I've actually also seen how software A poor software development process can ruin an organization. That's true.
And maybe what we can do is, I've seen this more than once.
Hmm.
And maybe you can say story time. Poor software development almost ruins organizations, and then say, I've seen this many times where people make the following mistakes, and go like I did with the little bullets, the mistakes, but also put it in a box.
Yeah. Because then for scannability, it'll be easier to read, and people want, they, as they're scanning, they're like, oh, they only did manual testing? Like, what's that all about? And how do you have no procedure for code review? Like, what do you expect is going to happen? You know, I mean, obviously don't say those things, but yeah, that's what people would be thinking.
Maybe some people would be like, you need that stuff?
Yeah. Yes,
I would
please.
also change women to people, both people on the team. If this, I don't know, I'm just having the thought of like, if this is mostly going to be read by men, I just don't want there to be some weird like subconscious connection
Gender thing,
between
yeah.
thinking that like, oh, it's the women on the team. Like, I
Right.
just,
Well, that's kind of what made it powerful, was like, okay, they let go the foreign guy and both the women, right? It's like, what are you guys doing here?
like you said, all the junior people, and
Yeah.
then including myself and both women. So
No, I don't like it. It's
yeah.
too polarizing, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You have to soften it, because it's America, it's not Europe. You can't be that direct.
Right.
And it's not clear what you're saying here. Like in your storytelling, you're not being clear about how and it's a different problem, suffering from judgment, or suffering from, what's the word? Ostracizing people because they're foreigners, because they're women or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's the right climate to bring that up.
Well, and it could, you know, when the company faced poor financial performance, the entire staff was let go.
Right.
The entire team was let go. Like that's where you can just
powerful.
kind of sum it up like that.
Actually, say it even worse. Say they weren't able to keep their team. Like, it's not that they were let go, it's that the company was so messed that they weren't able to continue paying wages. Right? That's what you want to communicate here, because we're talking from the perspective of your potential client, right?
Yeah.
So
they were unable to pay wages, and the entire
don't
team
judge them. Yeah, but talk to, like, this is their nightmare. When we talk about what's the thing that keeps you up at night, not being able to pay wages is definitely up there.
Yeah.
A lot of smaller companies, well, even bigger companies. Because
And
for
then
bigger companies,
you're addressing some of their biggest fears right here, right away, you know, at the beginning of the problem section of the page.
Yeah. What if we can't make payroll?
yeah, and
That's
even
a
like for
big
big
problem.
companies, because their payroll is so much.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, like, don't allow unforeseen, you know, with planning and the right execution, unforeseen challenges can be alleviated. I mean, that's obviously way too wordy, but I'm just, you know, giving the concept of the idea. Because if they would have planned ahead, then they would have known that you definitely need those things.
Or just say they lost their entire team due to their actions. They weren't able to continue paying and lost their entire team. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it is, it's too personal and it has too much about you, and it's not punchy. It doesn't clearly tie not testing to their lack of success.
Cool. Thank you, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Okay. Delayed testing, delays, releases, and revenue. I had to read that a couple times to, like, for some reason, for my brain to fully grasp it. Maybe it's the
delay.
What if you say poor testing, the delays, releases, or inadequate testing,
untimely, or not within,
insufficient, shitty.
Yeah, insufficient. I like that. Insufficient.
Yeah, I like
testing.
insufficient.
Shitty. Yeah.
Shitty was a good option.
Too bad we can't really say like, okay, this sucks. Don't let it happen to you.
What happens when your testing sucks?
Yeah.
Story time.
Right. And 10 ways to not have sucky testing.
As an aside, having worked slinging code for a lot of decades now, a lot of companies cynically sort of take the attitude, if not enough customers complain to stop buying our products, then we don't have to spend more on testing. So maybe that can be woven in here somewhere.
A great point, Samantha. Sometimes they're trying to save money and they're not realizing that saving, cheap is dear in the end, and cutting out that very key portion. But it's also a little bit horrifying to know that if people don't complain, that they're not going to really do anything about it.
Absolutely.
Good to know.
Yeah, just gonna cut that corner.
Look, I have a baby puppy.
Yeah.
Aw.
This is reinforcing the problem. Like this is their problem section of the landing page.
What if you said premature releases instead of defective?
That's kind of the jargon that we use, software defects, meaning a
Yeah, but you're
problem
talking to
that
men.
hasn't been discovered necessarily by the customer yet, but it's a problem in the software.
Yeah, and you're calling them defective releases elsewhere. It's just that I think you're talking to men. It could be like an interesting emotional spark to say premature releases are expensive.
Yes.
Actually, it is kind of good.
That's great. Nobody wants premature releases. And it's a bug, not a feature, right?
Well, and if you make them even smile at this point, right, they're gonna remember your website forever, right? And it's not obviously dirty language. It's just like accidentally dirty language. Or maybe, well, they probably would know it's purpose. And then you can talk about effective, sorry.
Does this thing of releases actually work in the current environment of continuous integration and continuous deployment? Because, the industry's moving away from official releases. And instead, anything that goes to the main branch automatically gets integrated, right?
That's true. It's not what we're doing necessarily at our company. But yeah, like if you have a web application, right, you just kind of push it out there. It's not really.
So what you really need is to make sure that as part of the CI/CD cycle, that the tests are applied and it doesn't get deployed unless they all pass, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're Microsoft.
I think this first sentence just needs a little, like right before starting, issues discovered by the client, like starting when software is released before testing, issues that are then discovered by the client need to be reported, then all of this stuff, and it becomes the whole thing. So
Actually, you can change it like this. Issues discovered by the client are embarrassing, period. And then what you said, software challenges need to be reported, delete detailed information, blah, blah, blah. But just starting with issues discovered by the client are embarrassing, which would go with your premature releases are expensive.
That's great.
Good.
But it's true, like no matter, like I get what Sam is saying about the releases being a continuous thing, right? But issues discovered by the client are embarrassing, no matter what. No matter if you're doing 10 releases a month, right? You should be testing it, and the issues should be ironed out in the testing environment, not be released to the client. The client should never have to see issues, right? So there's, yeah.
Samantha, do you prefer Samantha or Sam? Does it make a big difference to you?
Doesn't make a big difference.
Okay. I just don't want to, be butchering your name over here.
You could save a couple of syllables if you feel like it.
Yeah, like Joshua likes Joshua, not Josh, right? But I will accept AG if people want it. But only if you know how to say Agnieszka first.
Post-release issues cause distress. Writing fires, burnout developers and managers. Customer is distressed. They paid for defective software.
Actually, post-release issues cause something worse than distress. It somehow has to hit their pocketbook or create additional costs or something like that. Or post-release issues are expensive. Right? Because then you have to pay the guys overtime and double time on a holiday, blah bullshit.
Post-release issues are costly.
Costly.
It's just because these are expensive up in number one. So to avoid repetitiveness.
Post-release issues are embarrassing. We could move the embarrassing from there too. If you wanted to,
you were changing that to embarrassing. So yeah, if you change this
No. I was using embarrassing in the sentence below, but you can say post-release issues are embarrassing, and then instead of issues discovered by the client are embarrassing, just say you never want to be in a situation where the issue is discovered by the client, right? And you'd still be playing the same and using the word embarrassing in the next paragraph.
You don't want to be caught with your pants down with the client.
You could write that too. Literally, because I mean, if they're men, right? They're men. So they need to relate to you on a man level, right? And right away, that's kind of secondary service. So they don't trust you to begin with, right? So, I don't want to be caught with my pants down. Oh, he can help me with that. Like, that's a very visceral thing to say. You can talk about like outages and things, and it's all up here above my head, right? But getting caught with my pants down is in the body, which is where decisions are made.
Just to put this out there and not to get the thing confused about gender or anything, but when I worked for a VAR and I was calling on CTOs, quite a few of them were women. The majority, of course, were men, but there definitely were women. So
definitely, I'd say it skews male, but it's not exclusive.
Yeah, it skews male. That's fair. Yeah,
it's not assumed gender here.
Yeah, I was going to question that because there's 2 women who seem to be very well versed with this topic on this call alone and 0 men. So how are your numbers there? I was going to question that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of women who are product managers and particularly in product development and more on the side of customer support who actually have to deal with upset customers. So it's a spread.
Yeah.
I like what you said, Agnieszka, because it brings personality.
Yeah, it's easy to, especially when I'm talking about tech stuff, to just, get very, very dry, right?
That doesn't get you sales, and it doesn't bring anybody into their heart center.
Yeah.
I like the 4th title though.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to question reduce revenue. What about drive revenue down or something like, or destroy revenue or decimate revenue? Decimate revenue. Something much more.
What you could add to this list is if you're too busy fighting defects, you don't have time to innovate and your competitors may eat your lunch.
Ooh, I like that.
I like the lunch part too.
That's true.
I like that. Agnieszka, maybe low quality destroys revenue?
Something more emotional than reduce. Burns up. Oh, what about low quality releases burn up profit? Eat your profit, or something like that. Or something like that.
I still like decimates revenue. I feel like that's
Yeah.
pretty visceral and powerful.
Would you rather spend your money on innovation to outperform your competitors, or would you rather spend it fixing what shouldn't have been broken to start with?
Yeah.
That's a sentence to go underneath number 5, like the last
Well,
sentence.
because this isn't, these are all listing problems, but this is more starting to shift into solutions. So this shouldn't be a part of a number 5. So you should replace like what Sam and them were talking about for a number 5, and then this becomes like more a lead-in into solution speak.
Or conclusion there, yeah.
Yeah.
But then that leaves you a problem because you can't have 4 numbers. So you can only have 3 or 5. So you either have to roll 2 into 1 and have 3, which is fine, or figure out another 5th one. You can never have 4. I don't know why. It's a rule. Human brain does not work like that.
Yeah, well, and we were just talking about there was just talk about about how innovation can't happen with all this stuff, so that could turn into a number 5.
Yeah.
Nice. Keep going. All right. Integrated testing too for your team.
I would shorten that. The why of integrated testing, or the why integrated testing is your superpower, or something like that. JL.
Yeah.
Now, as a software person, I have a bit of pushback on test-driven development because it doesn't always give you the clearest and most well-factored design. When you write tests, you have to have something in mind for what the implementation is. So you can't drive design from there. Good design needs to be testable, but saying that you write the test first, which TDD tries to do, doesn't really necessarily give you the most flexible for the long term and powerful design.
True. Kind of our practice, I guess, is we do the design, then once we have the stubs, right, then you start to create the tests for the stubs.
So you
Kind
want
of what we're doing right now.
another point that says need-driven design? Because if you had need-driven design, test-driven development, and employee and customer morale, because really timely and robust releases and employee and customer morale, they talk about the same thingy. Like releases on time and in a low stress environment. So you could, if it's really that important to Sam that the need-driven design, could put that first, put test-driven development in the middle, and then have a timely, robust releases, reduce stress or something like that.
Okay. I don't know that needs-driven design is the service that I'm specifically offering. I'm sure it's interesting, but it's kind of not what I think that I'm really doing in this case for the customer.
Okay.
Maybe something more on point is I see like tests in some organizations that are testing as written, but they're not testing the functionality of the system. They're only testing that what you actually wrote does what you wrote it to do. That's not the same thing, if you see what I mean. And it keeps you from refactoring, because then it's a big job to redo all those tests, because testing as written, and it has to change. You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
Would anybody think of how integrating testing can work for your team or something like that? How as opposed to what?
Rather than a
Hmm.
question, make it a statement. What
And I do
integrated
like
testing can do for
I
your
do like the
team.
question aspect, right? Because you're still drawing them in, right? They feel like they're engaged in asking a question, but this is the solutions portion.
Mhm.
Okay, just a thought.
I sort of wonder if this section gives a nice carrot. I wonder if it shouldn't be moved up higher instead of the negative first. What do people think of that?
Well, there's a flow with a landing page, and so when we start up top, we've got our hero section, which definitely could use a little bit of probably some strengthening up there. But then we get into, okay, these are in a nutshell some of the, a really quick glance at some potential outcomes, the potential benefits, and then we have to let them know that we understand their pain. So that's why we go into the problem section first. After we give them a little snapshot of what's possible, we start to hook them in. Then we show empathy by demonstrating that you know the problem that they're dealing with, you
Okay.
understand them. Yeah, and so the problem, and we start to agitate the problem a little bit, and then move into solution. So you are right, because initially this was in a much different order, and that was some stuff that I mentioned to Taras about moving some of that stuff up top so we can at least get a little glimpse of what the outcomes could be, and then we start taking them down a narrative.
Okay, so it's like generally positive, then accentuate a little bit the pain, and then how to fix it. Okay.
Yep, you got it. All right, now we're getting into the offer. Working with me, your organization team will integrate testing seamlessly into the development process. It should be a your if we're sticking with this, because you use the me and your language, so let's keep it consistent. Using a punctuation at the end, small thing. Thoughts?
Are there off-the-shelf automation frameworks that you would also be offering? Because some organizations, when they see custom, they think, oh, big bucks may take forever.
Yeah, I haven't necessarily done that too much. We had a custom built sort of set of Python scripts, but there are more out of the box things available that could help people get set up with.
And are there specialized things like, for instance, a lot of companies now are building on top of Amazon Web Services, and testing against that environment's its own challenge. So are there any specialized skill sets in certain areas you might throw in here?
I haven't used AWS before. That's been on my radar as something to learn.
Yeah, it's just an example. I wonder if there are ones that could make them go, oh, well, that's what we use. This person might be perfect for that.
Docker containers have been something that have been big news that I've just started, working with. But people always talk about Kubernetes. There's honestly so much out there, and it's easy to get lost, right?
Yeah, tell me about it. I have too big a learning list myself.
Probably like, not a big deal, but I was reading it like the last sentence, second nature for your processes and pipelines.
What was the difference that you said?
Instead of 2, 4.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess like process and pipelines aren't people, right? So it's really second nature to you, and then you integrate it with your processes and pipelines. That's kind of some jargon type of stuff, the process and pipelines.
Yeah, the word "and" would work there too, I think.
I think you could remove special offer
Mm-hmm.
from up top. I don't feel like it fits.
Yeah, because there's not a special offer. Like if you use my services now, you get 50% off or whatever.
Right. Right. You know, it's introducing, you know, you and your service, positioning yourself as the solution. But yeah, special offer doesn't quite fit for this particular section. Yes, and then leads into you. I like that because you know, all right, by working with me, and they're like, well, who the hell are you? And well, this is me.
I have legs.
And
You
tennis
do have
shoes.
legs. Find a way to avoid starting with I and me. It's one of those fun things that even though it's about you, it's still about them. And
Yeah,
so
I
even if you
remember
just
they
had-
made me take out most of Agnieszka out of my bio, right?
Mhm. Even if you had a different sentence like to lead into this, that's about them, and then you can say, you know, all right, this is what I do. But just starting the whole thing with I is kind of a no-no.
Can I ask you some questions about this, Taras?
Yeah.
So, when you work with a client, what's the thing that they like about you the most?
Right now, I just kind of have my 9 to 5, right? So this is a new thing.
Okay, when you work with your employers, like your bosses and stuff, what do they like really like about you? What's your like key thing about you?
Mm-hmm.
Your unique selling proposition.
Like, you know how they talk about me being a no BS kind of person?
Okay. One thing that jumps out to me is being able to coordinate with our India team. I think that there's a lot of difficulty, especially when you have like American-based developers. They kind of are really into their technical stuff, and then they can't really communicate effectively with, okay, we're across a language barrier, we're across a huge time barrier, and I'm able to really do that no one else on our team is able to do as effectively.
So you're able to establish rapport with different people and understand their needs and be able to bring teams together to collaborate, right? Even difficult, you could even say you bring, you know, different teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Or
what
an
I'm trying to
effective
say.
communicator with international experience or international perspective, because, you know, to have that ability to work with teams all over the world, that definitely is a selling point for sure.
Absolutely.
I would reword some of this paragraph. I mean, when you say I work with development teams, you know, someone's going to think, well, so do all my developers. But
Mhm.
if you say something, you use the enable word later in the paragraph, I would start with that. I enable development teams to build robust software with negligible defects. That sort of combines those two. And running the I enable developers to run tests, well, they can do that already, right? And you already mentioned that your whole thing's about testing. So I don't know if you need to include that instead of some of the points that have been brought up, like working with multinational teams and so forth, as bullet points there might be a little better.
What about saving your ass one test at a time? Nice.
And
Certainly,
just
everybody, but I appreciate being here.
Yeah,
Hannah.
welcome.
And just one small nitpicky thing, the button. I mean, we know we were going to change the colors, but also should the buttons be consistent throughout? So the one above was, if you can scroll, yeah, claim your free. I mean, so whatever that would be consistent throughout as opposed to schedule a session.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, and it's nice to have it like say, okay, it's free, no obligation, but it's also it's very verbose, right? So like
Right.
book a call, right? That's very short and to the point versus, you know, there is something nice about saying, yeah, this is a free, no obligation call.
And if you wanted to have a shorthand, you know, schedule your discovery call. So at least there's still consistency about what they're signing up for. So they don't think like, oh, is this different, a session versus the no obligation call? You know, so you can have a little shorthand and, you know, mix it up a little bit that way, as long as it's very clear that it's all going to the same place.
I have a piece of homework for you, Taras. You ready with your pen there?
Yep.
Read 2 articles about what makes buttons effective.
Something I see a lot is there'll be like one general button, like schedule a free session, and it'll be sprinkled throughout the text. So if people get tired of reading the whole thing, they're already convinced they have a button right there.
Yeah, at each point, because some people don't scroll all the way down. That's a good point, Samantha.
More thoughts on bio before we keep going? Going once, going twice. Okay. So this one, I remembered, I kind of interpreted as like the closest thing that you had to a testimonial, is almost like a mini case study.
Do you have any like testimonial things, maybe from a LinkedIn page or something that you could put here? Instead of you
I
saying
don't at this point. I was thinking one of my coworkers nominated me for like a little award with like $100 Amazon gift card or something a couple years ago. So I could go and try to get that language from that testimonial.
So I'm just making an observation now. I'm just thinking about at the very, very top, we got your big logo. And then throughout the whole rest of the page, it's just talking about Taras. It's not actually, I've never once seen your company name. So for something like this, where, you know, like how I saved a team, or, I mean, yes, you did, it is about you, but maybe tying it back into your company name, like how a team saved over 40 hours of work per month by working with Golden Tech.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really done anything with the company yet. And by we, I mean I keep falling into some sort of royal we over here. But
you and your team, which is us. We're your team. See, you have a team.
True. That's true. That's true. I do have a team at this point.
You know, it could even just like how a team, that's kind of a generic word, maybe some kind of descriptive word of what kind of team you're talking about, but how a team saved over 40 hours of work per month using these strategies or something like that.
Yeah, because this is real world solutions. You know, you're really showing them this is an actuality. So that's like that.
this little second subparagraph, I developed Anna, etc. I don't know if the world really cared that it was in Perl and Bash.
Right.
It's all gobbledygook to me. I don't know what this jargon means. but hopefully your readers will.
Ross, on your website, do you have any place where you actually list out your different languages and different environments and those types of things?
It should be just below
Okay.
on this page. Oh, maybe one more. There it is.
What we deliver. Okay.
You need to take the I out of
Yeah.
most of it.
Mhm.
Just say custom tools or custom developed tools
Mhm.
or in-house tools.
Mhm. In-house custom tools.
I wonder if all of this belongs on the same page and some of it wouldn't be better served by a more here and there.
Oh, but this is it's a landing page. So see, the idea is to not draw them away from this page. So, we avoid a landing page, no
okay.
top menu, having a really like only one call to action, the rule of one. So it just has one job, to get them to get on a discovery call with him. So it's tricky with a long form landing page in that way.
I've also seen it where they lay out these long scrolling landing pages where there is navigation, but it literally is just popping you down. It's like a hashtag
Right.
and it just jumps you down to that part of the page.
Like an anchor link.
Yeah, like an anchor link. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really like this section, the right tools for the job. I almost want it to have more emphasis or be easier to find.
Mm.
It has a crispness to it.
Yeah, and I like the icons.
Mm-hmm. And go back up here a little bit. So tell me about, what I deliver. There's definitely lots of spacing issue on this page. This
Yeah,
could be a lot more.
So Jeremy was telling me to try to turn it into a flow chart. Basically, these are like kind of my things that I do on a daily basis.
And is it actually like, is this a step-by-step or is it a list?
I feel like I need to do that. Learning and understanding is my first couple steps there.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the other things, it's not necessarily in particular orders.
Because this could be, there's a couple different ways that you could go with this section. You've got like what I deliver. It could also be something like what to expect when you work with me, and have it literally like a step by step. And I would say, try and condense it down. If you go that route, try and condense it into a smaller amount of steps. Like we said, up top, like it's the 3 or 5, and stop there.
I don't know what's actually best, but that this section has a blue background and white text, and the next section that's nice and crisp, it's white background with black, sort of bothers me together. It feels jarring.
Yeah, so maybe stick away with that blue and gold type of thing.
Mm-hmm. If you did like the step by step, you could even do like some combining of some of these where it's like step 1, discovery, and then you detail a little bit about what that entails, and then it's like whatever the next thing is, development and implementation, then describe what that says, and then I would assume leading on to something about testing and your methodologies. But so that could be a good way to still get the information that you want across, but also in, a nice, like step by step, and for skimmers too, if they just see, all right, discovery and then development and implementation, and, so that they can anchor on to that step by step.
And I like reiterating the concept of discovery, right? Because you're asking them for a discovery call, and then you're saying my step number 1 is literally, so they're thinking, wow, I might even get some further information in just a discovery call, right?
That's actually a really good point, JL, because you could even have, whether you combine it with this section or almost have its own mini section of like, what to expect when you schedule your free, your no cost, no obligation discovery call with me. And so they know when they schedule that call exactly what they're in for.
Yeah.
That is really great from like a customer standpoint.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this number 3 goes back to, most people you talk to, most like CTOs, are going to say, well, what type of automation? Because there's several common industry automation products. So they're going to want to know, am I getting painted into a custom corner, or is it a standard thing that I could find people that know it to tune it after you're no longer consulting with me, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've kind of used either Rundeck or Jenkins at work, and I'm more familiar with Rundeck, but I don't think it's a great solution for teams. It's just kind of what my predecessors picked and what I started going with, right?
And at what stage of development for an organization do you think your service is best fit? Is it more at the starting stage, which is nice, or can you help them recover from the disaster their software's been?
Yeah, I'm kind of working with a lot of legacy code, but it's very useful for new development, right? So to have the tests in place right away, and then, you're running them, okay, something's broken. What do we need to do?
Yeah.
Yep. It's another good point. Like maybe there's somewhere on this page of clarifying who this is for. Even there's a couple different audiences, but that way, they know, like if this is for me just starting out, or if like, oh my God, I have this shitstorm that I need help, managing, and so that they can be clear on if this is for them.
Yeah, kind of our thoughts. Well, Rawad was saying that more like a medium-sized organization might be a better fit, where like a small company probably won't be able to afford me, and then a large company already kind of has a lot of this in place. Versus then kind of talking with Jeremy, he's thinking more to target smaller companies.
Well,
So,
I say don't assume that the
yeah.
small companies can't afford you. If they can't afford you, then that's their thing. But I would, small to mid-sized businesses and make that, your category. Because they might be able to afford you.
And a lot depends on what you most enjoy doing. I mean, even in large companies, they start new projects periodically. And if you can show them how to start their project so that it's all well tested early from the very beginning of design, a lot of them be happy to have that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of, as our company, got acquired and became a bigger tech company, I've been just kind of like, about it.
That's good. I mean, that's the opportunity with something like this, is you get to decide who are the kinds of people that you want to work with.
Personally, I like that blank slate stage a lot, because otherwise you're bogged down on the mistakes of yesterday. Good luck.
Yeah.
I think that blue that you had in the background there, that might be the same blue I suggested earlier for your font.
It doesn't look familiar.
It does look pretty autonomy, yeah.
It's a very autonomous blue.
Good point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 F.
Okay, let's get down to this. So, yeah,
What is Taras? Every time there's a button, it's different. I know the color is the same, and sorry, but I don't like it. But every time your buttons have different roundedness on the corners, different everything. Every time it's different. Sorry, Taras, go ahead.
Yeah, so
this button is like really wide. Why isn't it, just around the text or something? And bigger, so it stands out. It's like the same font size as the stuff above it.
And I don't like the, all right, now enough about me, because you're still talking about you. So let's not say, that at all. Like, something completely different, I think, here. And like how I describe in like my course is it's like the PS section. It's kind of like the final warning. And it could be, you know, you could be describing like, what are the opportunity costs of not doing this, reinforcing some of those things. It could also be, you know, a final like reminder of, yeah, why they need this.
Right. Yeah, are you selling a service or are you selling your personality?
There's no such thing as a service, all is personality.
I don't agree. If I need some functionality, I need that functionality.
Oh yeah, no, like I mean, functionality is the basic, because if the business doesn't work, it doesn't work. But then all sales is based on basically the heart chakra, essentially.
I think there's a sales saying, it's like people buy from people, not from companies or something like that.
Yeah.
You also do a little repeating yourself here, Taras. So you said, and find out if we are a good fit. And then down here, right, this session will be all about you. Goal is to find out if we are a good fit. So you got a little
It
redundancy
just
going on
sounds
there
so
too.
rude. I wouldn't want to write any of that. Like find
Yeah,
out
I
if
would
we're a good fit. That's something you think, that's your inside voice, Taras, not your outside voice. I would say something, let's see if I can solve insert top of mind problem here. So find out whatever their top of mind problem is and say, let's see if I can solve it. Book your, and no obligation discovery call is a little pukey, so that's not good. It should be more like something like, and claim, like, that's so, like, it's so 1980s, you know, cliche.
Stop losing money with inferior testing, or you know, like something that, again, like a final reinforcement of everything they just got done reading. If they, you know, weren't sold yet, you get down to the bottom, you need a final push of
Stop
like
losing money
reminding
with
them.
inferior testing.
Yes.
Let's talk. Give me a half an hour of your time and I'll show you how.
Yeah.
And then this no obligation stuff is like, give me a half an hour of your time and I'll show you how. Or even above it, and then book now or schedule now or something on the button. The button should be very simple.
Ready to learn how Caldun Tech, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Am I saying it right?
Don't worry about it.
No, what's the name?
Yeah. Khaldun. Yeah, whatever.
Khaldun. Okay. No, I mean, it's important. It's important. It's your business. I want to get it
I suppose
right.
so.
So, you know, ready to learn how because you want to kind of bring your company back into it and how they, you know, you, it's really, you know, can learn how.
Escape buggy software hell today.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice. That's underneath the button. Escape buggy software hell today.
Yes. Nice. You know, right about at the top of the hour too. Look at that. We made it to the bottom of the page. Nice. I'm glad you brought this today, Taras, because I felt like you know, got a little bit started with the Loom video I sent you, but I knew that like, no, then we need to do another overhaul on the copy, and it's great having everybody's input on this.
Absolutely.
And of course, you'll get the recording. I'll make sure to send it to you personally when it's uploaded.
Yeah, and it'll probably take me a few days to actually implement all this.
Of course.
Great suggestions, so thank you all.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you for keeping this link open so that I could hop in here after work and learn. Thank you so much.
Yay.
And I know that there was some confusion about time, so we can let Tara go. But if anybody wants something like reviewed or whatever, the rest of us can stay on a little bit longer, depending on your guys' needs. If there's anything else you wanted us to examine.
Yeah, is there, let's do a temperature check of the room. Was there anybody else in here that was really hoping to get something looked at today?
I just have a question.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I'm driving to pick up my kids from school. So I don't know if I got this song right. Hi.
Hey.
There goes the ambulance. Okay, anyway.
You fell out of orbit.
And she just disappears.
Sorry, if I can hear. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is this, little backstory. I started learning WordPress back in October. And I paid to like have the massageorgan.org is my domain, and I'm just starting, but I have just stopped. Like, I feel like since I've started this course with WordPress, I'm like, wait, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to spend all this time doing the wrong thing. Wait. And so I just kind of put the stop on it because I've been learning so much that it's influencing like what I want to do and how I want to do things. So my question is this: just like there's like a business plan for your business, is there like a business plan for your website?
If you make it, there is.
Okay.
So, I mean, go ahead, Agnieszka.
I was gonna say review some of the older copywriting clinics and listen to how we advise the people to create their website, right?
Thank
There's
you.
that course. Kara made this course that gives you step by step. Talk about your course, or do you want me to?
Sure. I mean, my course, yeah, it's built for, built for beginners, and gives just a bunch of foundational knowledge of how to do copywriting. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have. Oh, we do have one. I think it was mostly the clinic video that we did on home pages. I don't know that I have an official lesson in the course on home pages, so you might be able to just access that through the clinic videos. But what I was going to mention, so with my process of copywriting, and especially I just got done, helping a client build a whole new website pretty much from scratch. And so right down to, I had to help out with giving some kind of a layout for the designer to work off of. So in that part of the process is what we call wireframing. So you're just starting to kind of lay out what are the different sections of the page, and thinking first about, what do I want to communicate on this part of the page? Not necessarily how you're going to say it, but in the wireframing, you're just starting to think about, what do I want to communicate at various parts of the page? And then you can start thinking about, how do you want to say it?
And when you think about how I want to say it, every single time, make it from the customer's perspective. So bring it back to, okay, your customer, your ideal customer, he's waking up in the middle of the night because he has to go pee. He goes back to bed and he's worried about his business, or he's worried about his life because insert problem right there, right? And then you solve that problem. So you reverse engineer it back to that problem with every paragraph. And from their perspective.
That is great. Okay.
And I'd also say, Hannah, is get out that shitty first draft. You got to start somewhere. It's not going to be perfect right away, but you get some stuff started on the page. And then once you start to see it, you start to go through it, you start to look at it more and more, then you start to see, oh no, okay, this would be better here, or this needs to be improved here. But you got to start somewhere. So get that shitty first draft out.
Is it hard to change it later? Like after I post my website, like if I get it going and I get it up, is it hard to change things later? Because
depends what you use. Are you using a template like in WordPress, or what are you using? What template is it? Is it like
the green one?
Well, okay, if you're using the green template, that means that the green template has specific rows with specific boxes, right? So that means that all your writing will have to fit in those boxes. And in the future, the only thing you'll be able to change is just the writing, because you're stuck with the green template, right? If you choose something like Elementor or something. So I'm working with Rawad for my website, right? And he built me like a basic website and loaded a template then, but the template is in Elementor, so that means I can add rows wherever I want. So now that I have the basic one, like I put shitty text in the places where there was text on the template, right? And then I brought it here.
Thank you. Hi, sweetie. Say hi to my class. Say hi, class.
Hi.
You have out of class. I helped into class. They're helping mommy with her website. Can you give us just a few more minutes? I love you. All right, I'm listening.
So so I'm working with Rawad, and he put this template in there, but the template has flexible rows, so I can add rows to it whenever I want to. So that gives me more flexibility than just using a static template, right?
Yeah, I think the one I have you like, and I'm like preschool here, so I'm sorry, I'm probably saying this wrong, but I can like move things around and I can add boxes.
That's
A
good.
WYSIWYG editor, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
good. So then it's not going to be that hard to change the things in the future. So just put together a shitty thing and next month bring it to the clinic so we can review it.
Fun. Okay. And
Hannah,
Hannah,
I
I'm
have a,
sending-
oh, sorry, go ahead, Tara.
I was just going to say, Hannah, right now in the forum, I'm sending you a direct message with a link to the clinic that we did on home pages.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And then that other, where's your course?
I can send a link to that as well. I could even put it in our Zoom chat for anybody else that's interested.
And then when I go to look for these previous videos, are they in my library? Or do I just go to the page and scroll back?
They are all published on YouTube, so I can get you that direct link as far as just getting all of these live clinic videos. And then
because the library won't be really fully available to you until you graduate because there's so much stuff there. But they're on YouTube anyway, so just these particular courses you can watch them on YouTube.
Thanks. Thank you.
Because there's like hundreds of courses in the library, so there was a decision made that they don't give access until after graduation, so that the person doesn't like drown in their own knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think I need to update. I actually think I need to update in the library. I don't know if all of the videos are up to date in there. I need to check that.
Got you.
And Hannah, I have a template that we utilize, website creation strategy. And basically, it serves as an overview to compile the various types of information that you need to design an effective and user-friendly website. Basically, like walks you through it in a conversational, like question and answer type of way that may be helpful for you. I'll send you that in DM.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys, this is awesome. Thank you so much. Because I literally was just like, oh man, I don't know if I should keep spending time on this until I learn more. You know, I was just gonna fail forward. I was just gonna like, and when I started this, it's like, oh my gosh, there's a plethora of wisdom and knowledge here. It's like,
And we're here to
so
serve
I'm
you.
glad I did. I'm thankful to have been able to come and do this today. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's super rad. And it's a
Well,
Friday. I can't wait till tonight.
this lady needs to go get lunch. I'm hungry.
All right.
Enjoy. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, oh, go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say another successful copywriting clinic like no other.
I was going to ask
Super
if
awesome.
Agnieszka, if you wanted to stick around, just because I wanted to show Michael's course, how it looks, and maybe if just your thoughts.
Absolutamente. But hang on, but I have to turn on my video on my scarf pillow. I wanted to give Kara a hug. Come here.
Oh. And one of these. Yes. So do you want the recording to continue for this? Because I mean, if so, I could just turn my video off and mute and go do my thing. Or because I feel like if I transfer host, that it might stop the recording because I'm recording locally.
I think I don't know. Do you want it recorded, Jared?
Doesn't matter.
If you're good with that, then
yeah, just stop the recording and transfer the leadership to me, and then we'll be good.
great. All right. Copywriting Clinic recording ending